Slow trolling again today, guys. People hate it. People love it. When it's good, it's good. And people say, oh, you're cheating. It's a waste of time. You just go out there and catch him. It's simple. If you've ever tried slow trolling through standing timber, it's not that easy. Boat control, rod control, speed control, getting hung up, catching a fish, it's not that easy. Now, I love one pole fishing. I don't know anybody that loves it as much as I do. I'm sure there's plenty of you that do. Spider rigging in the springtime can be unfreaking believable. Every single crappie tournament for the last 10 years has been won before April slow trolling. I say everyone, I'm sure there's exceptions. All right? Especially if there's a one pole ultimate challenge. Slow trolling in the early springtime, deadly technique. You don't have to like it, you can hate it, just like trolling crankbaits, planer board fishing, bobber fin. Everybody has a different way of fishing. I like catching fish, period. Nothing replaces holding a rod in my hand, but slow trolling, pretty awesome. Stuff we use, 16-foot spider troll by Genco Fishing. That's all we use, the only trolling rods we have. We have 24 of them, actually. I'll do a little tour of the boat, show you how we transport those long rods. That's a pain. We use single rod holders. We use Tight Lock Widowmaker. There's others that are out. Proddy Built's got one. Single, everybody makes one. Single rod holder, what that does, if a fish hits your rod and you're in a T-bar rack, the whole rack moves, you don't know which rod to grab if you're not paying complete attention. Single, when it smacks, it's only going to hit that rod. Single rod holder versus T-bar. We always use monofilament when we're trolling. We want a stretch, right? Anytime I'm holding the rod in my hand, I want a braid. Nothing can replace the sensitivity of braid. But when we're slow trolling like this, you know, the rod is in the rod rack and the waves are moving. You want a little bit of stretch in your line, not braid. So 8 to 10 pound monofilament. Don't be afraid. Everyone thinks just because you're going spider rigging, you guys use straight minnow. I don't. What? My favorite way to spider rig is with a 1/4 ounce lead head and a 3-inch slab slayer. Wish I don't have to tip it with a minnow, but if they want minnows, I'll go ahead and tip it with a minnow. And I'll show you a video of that too. So try it, go out. I mean, if you have a lake that's clear cut and there's no timber in it, man, spider rigging would be an amazing technique for you guys to try. Even at Truman Lake right now, my home lake, hundreds and thousands of crappie a week are being caught by slow trolling through some shallow water. So give it a shot. Madhouse. A madhouse. One in my hand. Two. Oh, get out of there. Technique gear that we use, guys. We use 16-foot spider trolls by Genco Fishing. You can check them out at gencofishing.com. Almost the perfect action for spider rigging. Heavy, 3/4 of the way down with a light tip. Exactly what you need for this trolling for sure. Misconception if you're spider rigging or trolling that you have to be using straight minnow. We start our day when there's 2 of us in the boat with 8 different rods, and on those rods we'll have 8 different baits set up until we find the bait that is working that day. Our favorite is a 3/16 ounce crappie pro head and a 3-inch slab slayer. 2 at a time. 2 at a time. Man, that's awesome. A tip for you, make sure that all of your rods are at the same elevation, meaning the distance between the tip of your rod and the top of the water. That way when you look up at the end of your rods and something is different, you know you've either caught a fish or you're snagged. So keep them at the same elevation and this will help you catch more fish. Rod holders that we use, guys, we use Tight-Lock. Widowmakers, Caps and Coleman created these things. Caps and Coleman's the greatest spider riggers trollers of all time. It's a pretty neat setup. These are by Tight-Lock, but a single rod holder is way better than a T-bar for sure when you're doing this type fishing. Anyone that looks at trolling and says it's easy has apparently never done it. If you try to slow troll through a lake full of timber, it is a non-stop job, I guarantee you. Constantly catching a fish, getting hung up, getting untangled. But it is an absolutely deadly way to catch pre-spawn crappie. Like I said earlier, from April to December, we one-pole jig fish. But pre-spawn, those crappie are not locked on those targets like they do from April on. So if you haven't tried this technique, it can be absolutely deadly for crappie. There you go, guys. A quick little video about the gear we use for spider rigging, trolling, multi-pole fishing. A lot more tips coming here at Kevin Rogers Fishing. Like it or love it, it is a deadly way to catch fish, and it's not going away anytime soon. Unless they change the tournament rules to one-pole jig fishing, spider rigging is here to stay. So if you haven't tried it, definitely try it out for these pre-spawn monster crappie. Good fishing.